phone reporting the abuse and reporting that Sean is abused by his family, and even that his brother had an inappropriate relationship with a minor who now lives in the house and has become an alcoholic. Like the wholest picture possible. Without mentioning I'm just so afraid he's gonna start having sex with some stranger, comma, start doing drugs again and drinking, comma, drive recklessly, comma, go on a spending spree and run up his credit card bills, comma, or kill himself. Because those are all the things that happen every time I step away from Sean's life. Yesterday, Sean said he would come by with someone else because he's not comfortable being alone with me, period. And this morning, he emailed me saying that he feels harassed and he's no longer going to have any contact with me whatsoever. Laura, Sean has been suicidal for years. He talks about how and why and when he's going to kill himself almost every time he comes over here, which is twice a week. If you can reach him and be a lifeline for him, just don't want him to die. I just don't want him to die. I just don't want him to die. violently at his wife and kids for years. And then one day, his wife was taken out of the house dead. We always had the windows open because there was no air conditioning allowed during the summer. So we heard absolutely everything that went on in that house, and all of the glass breaking and the walls being hit. I wanted to intervene, but Sean said no, and then his parents said no. So we basically just like sat back and let an abusive husband murder his wife. Yeah, I know everybody really likes to point to me and say that I'm crazy. It would be nice if there was somebody standing next to me who could verify that what I'm saying is factual and not some crazy delusion because I watched too much Sopranos. The other element of this is that my brother was highly suspicious of the Reuben dolls and was threatening to kill them on a regular basis when he lived there with us. My brother's been missing for several years. Now, he was involved with the Blood and Crip gang here in Kansas City. Just buying and selling weed. But when my mom sent him to Boys Town, he got connected to the California Blood and Crips, so he got deeper in there. I'm like caught in a web of organized crime. go potty. Oh, I know, you just got up here. You just got up here. You can wait for me. Do you want to wait for me? I'm just going to go potty. every conspiracy theory thing that came to light, and all the truth that we discovered as we began to pay attention to what was being hidden from the American people. Absolutely all of that just backed up what I had already told him years before. Everything that we learned about, he knew for a fact. It's not like he just signed on to my spiritual belief, you know? He witnessed me creating reality. Witnessed crazy Twilight Zone stuff happening to me. And he heard everything from the horse's mouth long before we found books and videos and conspiracy theorists. Sean used to understand that I was the source of spirituality. The sexual misery program is to intentionally reverse, distort, manipulate, and abuse the sexual energies, therefore abuse the spiritual energies in human beings incarnated on this planet. It is intended to create sexual predators and sexual deviants in the human race. Most people that have addiction issues that are easily harvested in reversal networks for their sexual energy. Nibiruin, intervention, NRG implants, archontic deception strategy, seducer archetype, sexual slavery, sex trafficking, golems, moonchain lunar histories. What? The archontic deception strategy is directly to inflict sexual misery, sexual abuse, and sexual slaves on this planet, starting as early and young as possible. This means the children of Earth are targeted for inflicting sexual misery mind control programming through a variety of hidden agendas, such as genital mutilation, sexual scams, and using forms of emotional manipulation to get them to submit to non-consensual sexual activity or seducer archetype behaviors. Children are not mentally nor emotionally equipped to discern what adults' true motivations are and grow up into adults that repeat the same abuse they suffered as children. Upon hijack of these 4D energy centers, astral plane, false white light, false Christ consciousness grids, false ascension, were eventually used here to misguide human beings. The damage promoted in these centers also resulted in emotional distortions and aberrant accumulated energies in the lower bodily energy centers. This was taken advantage of by the negative aliens to splinter the soul energies rather than integrate and heal it by controlling the sexual energies. By promoting distortions around the sexual act, gender roles, and corrupting our relationship to our mother and father parent, our race descended into sexual misery and in many cases forms of sexual slavery. Moonchain lunar histories. This is known as the sexual misery program propagated and controlled by the Moonchain (lunar forces) lineages of the NAA on the Earth. These are lineages not indigenous to the Earth, but came through the process of invasion and deception. These are multiple layers of architecture and mind control that have been artificially created to control, deceive, separate, confuse, torture, and steal human beings' sexual life force, and it is a violation against the human soul. The main collection center for sexual misery is called the NRG. Energy? That's like how I type energy. Called the NRG network, that is the central hub in the United Kingdom. These actions wound the soul matrix body as the trauma levels in events such as rape or sexual torture fragment the soul into near destruction. When the soul fragments from any kind of intense trauma, it shuts down the soul connection, heart connection, and systematically splinters the layer of the mental bodies. If this is not healed, the soul fragments are unable to embody at all and exist in fragments strewn across the planetary consciousness grids. Okay, pause for a minute. So, then it doesn't sound all that unreasonable that, like, my thought was that Sean has been scattered to the wind, and now I must, like, walk the earth and locate in empty vessels where Sean's presence has settled, and by honoring that presence and knowing that it is him, I will send it home. I will heal it. And that's why when I found myself in Avondale, sitting next to Dan Irwin, who was talking about Duckula and doing impeccable impressions, and just for all the world, he was lit up like Sean. Like it was like that sweet boy Sean energy. And so when he like did his sad dog thing that guys do with me, I don't know if this is a normal thing that guys do this, but like there's this like I want to kiss you, I'm not worthy of kissing you, like this like this sad dog thing. Like I was like, no, like I know that like this face does not look like my Sean, but that is what I am tasked with, is finding my Sean in the bodies behind the faces of strangers. And so I made out with that guy. That's all I did, was make out with that guy. And then he like seemed to like spiral, like be drinking more. Like he was never that like that Sean light again. He was never that Sean light again. So I thought I did it. And then when I hung out with Sean, we went to see The Whitest Kids You Know, which was just like down the street from where I was staying in Avondale. I saw him there, like coincidentally. I saw Dan there, and I pointed out to Sean, like as closing this loop. I was like that's the boy. Do you see that boy? Do you see that sweet boy? Like, I like him. Do you like him? Like, he's a very sweet boy. I like him. Do you like him? Like, I pointed out to Sean, like my awareness being that I am like pointing out Sean to himself, and by them meeting, like I'm getting a fragment of Sean out of Dan Irwin and back into Sean. And indeed, after that, like things were drastically different between Sean and I. Sean and I were like, we were having conversations that were like his parents messed things up and this was a fluke, and Sean was saying things like, I don't know if I love myself, and I need to figure out if I love myself before I can say that I love you, but I think I love you. And either way, like, he wanted to take time while I was staying at the farm with Jim to like find himself, but then he spent time with Richard, an alcoholic and a sexual deviant, and he got hooked up with that girl. And even like when he met her, he was like I'm only on OkCupid to be friends, and like she's like cool that I just want to be friends, and oh Mindy, she reminds me so much of you, like you guys are gonna really get along, and like I'm so happy to like have a third person to hang out with you, like this is gonna be a good friend. And then like the third time he hung out with her, she woke him up and was like, you've have sex with me, fuck me, you've got to feel how tight I am, go to the gas station and get a condom and come back and fuck me. Like, and like Sean, you know, in that suggestive like sleep, not really awake, not really asleep state, this is how they do it. Like Sean drove the car, purchased a condom, came back and had sex with this girl. Like that, like that's how zombie mode you can actually be. Like there's a very suggestive state before you're fully awake, and if you insert a sexual arousal in that state, you just have yourself a slave. I know this. I've done this. My first boyfriend, like, I totally like did that. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to be evil to him. You know, like I could not help the level of evil that I was when I got my first boyfriend and we lost our virginity to each other. I just like cannot help that. Like I would go back and change it if I could. I should not have raped my boyfriend. Like that was not good of me, you know. But yeah, I did that. And so Sean, like, in describing what he went through, he's like, it's like I wasn't even in control of my body. Like he felt like the sweet little boy who described it, like the little Sean became little as he described what had happened, and he was like, she said this, and I don't know, I just went and I got it, and I'm so embarrassed, Mindy, I'm so embarrassed that I did that. And like, and I flipped the fuck out, which I shouldn't have flipped the fuck out. Like if I could take anything back, it would be the hysterics that like I wasn't, like, I was like aware. I was like you're acting, like you're not that upset, like you're putting on an act right now. I was aware that I was putting on an act, but I couldn't stop putting on an act, and that is what psychiatric medication does to me. It puts me in this place where like I know that like I'm not that upset. Like I always told Sean, like if he cheated on me, you know, we haven't had sex in 4 or 5 years at that point. If he cheated on me because he needed that biological need met, you know, like I would forgive him. Like I would absolutely forgive him. And if we needed to look into like finding a third person that he can have sex with, then like we can do that, you know? So like I shouldn't have reacted that way, and indeed I did not react that way. It was my programming as like when I get in the hands of people who program people and they put the pills in me, then like I become a puppet and I have to like watch myself like flop around my life and just like fuck everything up. Like it's horrific, but like that's how Sean experienced having sex with that girl. And so, you know, maybe like it's because he wasn't he wasn't really there. He wasn't really there to like be like a sexual being, and I was, you know, sleeping at the farm and I woke up because of this. And it was not at night, and it wasn't even like early morning. I don't think. I think it was like around like noon or something. So like this isn't like weird twilight hours or anything either. Like this is just how I woke up that day was with the like the feeling of the like astral projection type of thing. I mean, it's like you're infinitely shrinking down small, but you're also at the same time infinitely growing. The space in which you occupy is breathless. Like you don't breathe, you can't breathe, you don't have a body to breathe. Like the feeling is like of being turned inside out, and it's of falling backwards through the floor and like like flying. And so like I flew to Sean, like where like this girl was who was not me, was like having sex with my Sean. And like I remember like all of the My Little Ponies. Like I remember like so many of my Little Ponies who like were like absolutely before all of the Thorazine in 2012 and 2013. My Little Ponies were people. They were spirit guides. Like they spoke to me. They saw things, you know, like it like those like I saw so many of my Little Ponies, and I was like I had like an awareness like maybe that's why I have this 360 view of them on the bed, because all the My Little Ponies are like my eyes, and like maybe my Little Ponies, like my spirit guides, like brought me here so that I can protect Sean. And so what I did was I don't have a body. I'm just energy. I'm just energy and a consciousness. What I did was go into Sean and then go into her and like just weaving through them, like the infinity sign and everything, like 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 water sloshing back and forth. Like both of them were like empty. Both of them were empty, and so I filled up both of them, and I had sex with myself and with Sean and with Michelle. So like this way here I'm coming, this is Sean on the left side, this is Sean, and here I'm feeling the penis that I always wanted to have, and the arousal of a male as I have never known that before in my life. And then I, you know, the slosh, the infinity goes back into her, and I'm experiencing sexual intercourse without pain. My anatomy is mutilated, and I cannot have sex without there being immense pain. And I'm experiencing for the first time female sexual intercourse free from pain. And then back to Sean, like there's like, oh, there's that penis I always wanted to have, and all of the pleasure that his body is feeling, and then whoosh, like into her, and she's not in any pain, and like I had sex with myself, like, and then like we concluded, and I just like zipped right back to the bed in just outside of Osawatomie. Technically, maybe it's Paola. It's just outside Osawatomie, though. I coulda run from Osawatomie to Jim's house, and I'm there with that inside out feeling, and I'm like, well, I really don't want that to be the reality. Like if that just happened, like it really felt like it had just happened. If that just happened, I don't want that to be the reality. I didn't wake up in the right reality, so I need to go back to sleep and wake up somewhere where that didn't happen. So I denied it. I was in denial about it. Not so much about like, oh, I'm just a crazy person. The night before, I had been terrified that that girl was going to take advantage of Sean, and I resisted calling him and warning him. And, you know, this is the biggest mistake I ever made. Biggest mistake I ever made, and why I will never drink again. All of my intuition was screaming at me. I mean, just like full alarms blasting throughout my mind. Like you need, like, call Sean, warn him about that girl. Like, you trust him, but you don't trust her, and you shouldn't trust her. Just like every ounce of my intuition was informing me. And what did I do? I took a couple of shots so I could go to bed, because I didn't want to participate in that fear. I didn't want to honor that fear. I didn't want to give in to it. I didn't want to make that phone call, because I thought making that phone call would be participating in a lower hell realm. And so I didn't want to make that phone call. But you know what? If I didn't want to be participating in a lower hell realm, should I have drank alcohol? No, I should not have. Right? So, 2 shots to go to bed. That's it. That's not very much, So, like, by like, noon the next day, when I'm experiencing my husband, we were together 7 years, my husband having sex with another girl, with that blue-haired girl. I knew she had blue hair before he even told me she did. Like, I had been, like, watching her. Like, as soon as he mentioned her name to me, as soon as he started talking about her, like I had, like, had eyes on her somehow. I don't know how that works. Like, I guess, like, anybody who's just, like checked out of reality, I think, like, I can just, like, jack their perception and, like, hear what they hear, see what they hear. So, I think what happened was Stacy Rubendahl zombied out of his room a couple of times and, like saw this girl, and, like, that's how I was able to see her. I don't know, but, like, Stacy Rubendahl is a zombie, and, like, if there's another vessel there that I could just, like, inhabit and experience life through, it's him. So, but the dad and the mom also, everybody's so checked out. Stacy's addicted to video games, and he just, like, barely sleeps, so he's, zoned out because of that. But, like, their dad is addicted to opioids, and their mom takes anti-anxiety medications that are not even prescribed to her from Mexico. So, I guess it could be anybody in that household. But yeah, like, I really did not, I was really like, okay, like, I experienced this thing. I had amazing sex with my Sean. I had an amazing orgasm. I mean, the orgasm, you guys, the orgasm from being, like, from having sex with yourself, like, using two empty vessels, like, oh my god, that orgasm was amazing. Like I, like, shot back into my body to have, like, my physical orgasm. Like, I had the physical orgasm. Like, not the spirit, not the spirit, not in the astral. I fully was back seated in my body, like, all the way come back through the 2D, breathlessness, big, small, fully, fully a physical, awake girl in bed, just, oh my god, that orgasm. And so when Sean was like, I'm gonna be late coming to pick you up from the farm, because this is the day that Sean's coming to pick me up from the farm, because he and I found an apartment that we're getting together, because we wanted a do-over for our love, for our relationship, and that's what that apartment was. Um, like, Sean and I discussed that on my birthday in a parking lot and in a thrift store. We were sitting on a sofa in a thrift store. It might have been the Salvation Army. I'm not sure, but like, whatever's going on here is so messed up. Like, it's hard to even, like, believe me. I'm sure you're just like, this girl is just so crazy. Like, I wish I was, you guys. I wish I was. It's so much easier. So anyway, Sean was late, and I was just like in this, like, really weird space where, like, that didn't happen. Sean didn't do that, you know, like our lives are getting started. But then there was also there was something weird about him, and, like, he wasn't, like, he was moving in a way that he was keeping one side of his body to me at all times, like, consciously doing that. Like, you know what, like, guys, like, before they started shooting me up with antipsychotics, or actually before they finished shooting me up with antipsychotics, I was real perceptive and real with it. So, like, I noticed this, and I'm like, that's kind of odd. But I still am just, like living in this, like, twilight zone of denial, like that I did not just go have sex with with my boyfriend and that girl that he met on the internet. Like, that did not just happen, you know. And, like, it's difficult for me because that's not the first time that I astrally traveled to witness my boyfriend, my betrothed, my fiance, actually, at that point. Donnie was my fiance, having sex with another girl because of substance use. And that was, you know, I was that was, like, the first time that I'd ever done it, when the boy that I lost my virginity to, we lost our virginity to one another, when he cheated on me with Jessica in Jessica's bedroom after fiddling with the shit on her things, setting their beers down on the dresser, you know. Like, I was there before, like, for the Donnie thing, for the Donnie sex thing, I was there before it became sex. Like, as soon as they entered that house, like, I was there. So, like, I was watching, like, all of it. I watched all of it, and when they started having sex, I just, like, I just, like, I just went back, and I just, like, laid on the bed, and I looked up at that ceiling fan with those glow-in-the-dark mushrooms, like, spinning around, and I was just like, I cannot believe that he's doing that. I cannot believe that he did that. And the moment that Donnie walked in the door, I was like, you had sex with Jessica. Don't even lie to me. Don't even pretend like you don't know who I am or what I'm capable of. I was there, Donnie. I know that you just had sex with Jessica. And he was just like, fuck, you know, like, that's what it's like being with me. That's what it's like being a guy being with me. You know? Like, not the most fun thing. Like you're clearly in the presence of, like, a god or a witch or a demon or something. All of the above, right? I'm Lucifer and Jesus, baby. I can't help how bright I am. And so, you know, I'd had that experience before, and I was like, this was so much more intense than, like I got pissed because Donnie was cheating on me and zipped back into my body, you know. Like, I didn't participate in, like, the Donnie sex. Like, I was disgusted by that, and I left. But I did participate in the Sean and Michelle sex, so, you know, I was just freaked out by that. And then, like, we'd been driving, like, 20 minutes back into town, and Sean was like, I gotta tell you something, like, that girl Michelle, like, I had sex with her, so I think I'm in love with her. Like, Sean, whoever he has sex with, like, his poor, sweet, genuine, his soul, like, Sean thinks that when he has sex with a girl, like, he loves her. Like, he thinks automatically, like, that love is created from having sex with that girl. So he was like, I must be in love with her, you know, like, and I was just like, are you fucking kidding me right now? I knew that, and I really wish that I had been wrong about that. And he goes on to tell me that, he didn't even wake her up after she fell asleep after they had sex, and that she was in fact sleeping on my side of our bed back at home, where he brought me, and he was like, I can't deal with this. So he sent me up to the bedroom to wake up the girl who had molested, raped my sweet Sean, because she herself is just an agent of sex, and she is a sex slave. Like, this is the girl, like, he picked her up, like, right outside of a Masonic temple. Like Sean being, like, naive, like the extent to which Sean is naive is just, like, mind-boggling, with all of the stuff that, like, we've, you know, discovered that has just done nothing but corroborate the story that I told Sean before I even would agree to go out with him. He wanted to be my boyfriend, he wanted to go out with me, and I told him, like, I'm going to tell you absolutely everything about me and the truth of me, and you're going to think that I'm crazy, and that's okay. You know, like, obviously that's what you're going to think, but you're going to know everything. And so I told him everything. Which means that when all this stuff came about, and it's like, oh, look at that. Like, there's this thing, Mindy told me this. Mindy told me this. Mindy knew this already. Mindy knew this already. Like, Sean wasn't just like, oh, spiritual girl Mindy, I'm gonna adopt her religion because that's easy. Like Sean, like, didn't even, like, have the luxury of belief or having faith in me. Sean was living with me. He was witnessing the bizarre things that went on in my life, the Twilight Zone stuff. He, like Sean didn't have the luxury of belief or faith. Sean knew that I hadn't been making things up. Like, obviously I hadn't been making things up, because, like, here we are, like, the internet is just, like, supplying all of this evidence that everything Mindy ever thought is, like, actually, yep, the fabric of reality and creation, yep, her role and everything. Everything is fucking true. Mindy wasn't wrong about anything. Mindy wasn't wrong about anything. Like, imagine what kind of devotion you would have to someone if you had experienced them being God, and if you had been God with them. Sean and I were king and queen of reality. Sean and I, we set our intention together. When we're in line with one another, we create worlds. We blast through portals into other dimensions to obtain special little knickknacks, you know? Like, there's a reason that the powers that should not be have navigated Sean, have manipulated Sean, have corrupted Sean with trained sex slaves, with programming, with deprogramming, with brainwashing. There's a reason that Sean has been subject to that. And that's that when Sean and I are on the same page, miracles happen. When Sean and I are on the same page, we are so high vibing, you can't touch either one of us. But when we're not on the same page, which, like, the old like for 7 solid years, Sean and I were always on the same page, okay? Like there'd be like 5 minutes, where we would like not be feeling one another, and like now, like we are very rarely on the same page. And like because of that, I am weaker and Sean is weaker. And so in order to get to me, the powers that should not be took down Sean. They got to me through Sean, and they will get to me. They will use whoever, however, whatever, whenever, in order to get to me and bring my vibration down. Because why? Because I've been walking this entire earth from birth with the intention that I'm bringing it all down, baby. That this is the end of life as you know it, human race. That this is your evolution, or this is your farthest fall from grace, and you gotta get back up and do it all over again. Like there's no other options here. Like, we reset or we ascend. And I decided long ago that this is ascension. I am waiting for people to wake up. I'm waiting for ascension. And I kept looking for it. And every little tool that I had, I went out into the world and I just found people that, like, they were also aware of things. They were also high vibing, like conscious co-creation. There's all kinds of like terminology that I now have that I didn't have back then. Back then it was just like, you remember the Berenstain Bears? You remember Pirates Cove? Is that what it's called? That fucking thing that they made a fucking fictional fucking... Yeah, so the media, what they do is they take my life experiences and they put them out there so that you dismiss me. Like, you don't think I'm God, you don't think I'm great, you don't think I'm anything. You think that I watch a lot of TV, and that's all you think about me, that I'm just a crazy girl who watches a lot of TV. That's what you think about me. Because if you didn't have that reflection, if that wasn't happening, the devoted falling at my feet would be innumerable. If you didn't have that disinformation telling you that, oh, this girl, she just saw The Matrix, she just watches TV, and then, yeah, I read books too, like fictional books, like young, like Babysitter's Club, I was an avid reader of Babysitter's Club, and like I would say here's how this happened. I would talk to my dad about my perceptions of reality and what I thought and my predictions for the future. And I mean, I told my dad everything. My dad was my best friend. I didn't hide that I was more than human from my dad. My dad knew that I was telepathic. He's... And I don't even, it sounds so crazy now, but I'm really pretty sure that I had telekinetic abilities also. And my dad has also witnessed me having telekinesis, which is, that's just it's just so far-fetched, but yeah, I really think that, yeah. But anyway, I digress. I would talk to my dad about my understanding of reality and whatever was just going on in my mind, and my dad would be like, you are sounding a lot like this author right now. It sounds like you're talking about this book that you haven't read, that I'm gonna allow you to read this adult book because you're talking about it. You're talking about this book, this adult book that I have. You're talking about it, and you haven't read it. So I'm going to let you read it. And if you have any questions, let me know. If there's anything, use the dictionary like you always do. I read the dictionary for fun, yeah. If there's any questions that you have, come to me. There's some adult content, but that's how I came to be reading all of this adult science fiction, because I was talking to my dad and he was she already knows, she hasn't read these books, but she already knows these books, so yeah, that was that's how that happened.
You know, until then I was reading like Babysitter's Club and Goosebumps, you know, like R.L. Stein. I definitely like devoured R.L. Stein. R.L. Stein is not, you know, science fiction. R.L. Stein is not talking about spirituality either, you know, like, so, um, yeah. Uh, as I got older, I kept like, people would be like, "Oh, you've seen that movie." You're like, "Oh, so you've read that book?" And I would be like, "No," like, and they would be like, "So what religion like are you like weird?" Like people were like surely you've read this, you know, like maybe you read it and you forgot that you read it or something. People were just so like, what is up with this girl? Like she said she doesn't know anything about religion, but like there's a person that I'm talking to and like they know a lot about Buddhism and Taoism. And that's how I became aware of Taoism and Buddhism, because I was talking about things and people who were like deeply deeply spiritually in tune with those particular things. They were like you're talking about this like, you know, you're talking about it like you know it better than I do, and this is my religion, you know, like, so you should know, like what you're talking about is called Taoism. And like there's this book that you should read, little girl, called the Tao of Pooh, I believe it is, right? Like the Tao of Pooh. When I wasn't a little girl, I looked like a little girl, but I was like, I think I was 17 or 18 actually when someone told me about Taoism. And yeah, so like it's like you guys need all that stuff, I guess. You guys need all that stuff. You need to read the books, you need to see the documentaries. I didn't need any of that. I'm the one who knows. I am the one who sees. I am ancient source. I am. I have walked this whole life like reality rising up to knit itself beneath my feet as I speak, as I breathe. I am. Sean knew that. Once upon a time, Sean knew that. Some part of Sean in his fractured psyche still knows that. So I can't just like toss him aside like, oh, he abuses me, you know, like it's not that easy. This is not that easy. It's not simple at all. I am the creator of the universe. I am the creator of this universe. Everything you see is a reflection of me. And everything I see is a reflection of me too. Try just like spending like a couple days in like a room that's nothing but mirrors. Like, how do you feel? How do you feel then? How do you think I feel? And I don't appreciate being called crazy at all. That's not very nice. Here I am, creating a world for you in which you can return to awareness of your own power, of all of our power, of one, delighting in the individuality, aware of the unity, co-creating heaven on earth instead of battling hell. Here I am, bringing it all down for you. Here I am, Lucifer and Jesus, bringing it all down for you. Not for the sake of destruction, but because it must all come down. Every bit of it is so corrupt. The cancer, it touches everywhere, it reaches everywhere. It has to come down. The system has to come down. And then we have to figure out a better way. And I believe we can do that. Clearly, here I am. I have created this reality wherein people like Aaron Doughty, who just popped up, I guess he's got a video, 3 things that keep you locked out of 5D. Don't do this. Aaron Doughty. Like, where there's Aaron Dowdies and other people who believe that it's time for ascension. So